cancer is not going to interfere with my life in being a mom, and it's not going to change my kids' lives. Hi, I'm Michelle. Harley used to be the clown at my birthday parties. So Harley was a guy named Coco, and he'd come dressed like totally in clown attire and the whole thing, and I would cry every single year. Life for me is all about my family. Being parents for Mark and I is the most important thing. Our kids mean more to us than anything, and we love our kids love us. We enjoy traveling with them, we enjoy going out to dinner, going to movies, hanging out. Yesterday, we all piled in bed and watched a TV show together. And it may sound boring to some, but to me, that's what life is all about, at least my life.
I've known Michelle since our children were in baby class together, our oldest children. She's probably my best friend here in Seattle. We talk every day. She's just a great friend. She's an amazing human being.
I think the important thing is, in the beginning, you think you're alone. You're not. There's plenty of people to fall back on and plenty of people that are happy to help. So it's a good feeling from that perspective. My name is Todd. I work at Harley Marine Services, which is a great sort of family-oriented company to work for. That's a large part of my life, but I also have, in a bigger part of my life, obviously 5 kids, all great kids. You know, I've been very lucky. Beautiful wife. We like to do the normal things that families like to do. You know, Disneyland vacations, that kind of stuff is always great, as well as just staying home and watching a movie with the kids or taking a walk or doing those sort of things.
Todd, he's a character. He's hardworking, he's loyal, he is creative, innovative, he's a great family man, and he's a dear personal friend.
My cancer was diagnosed as stage 3B. You start out day 1 with hope that it's not there. Day 2, you get smacked in the face that hope is gone, and that's difficult, and you deal with that. And then the next day, you meet Henry Kaplan, and all that stuff sort of goes away.
I love what I do. I always felt like I wanted to do something useful. I think the 2 things that drive me is the personal relationships with individual people and the feeling that I'm doing something useful. I feel like when I go home at the end of the day, I did something for somebody.
When you go to see Dr. Kaplan and he walks into the room, you don't feel like you're a patient of a guy that has 2,000 patients. You feel like you're his only patient. I'm his only patient. He's got all this stuff lined up for me, and he's thinking about what he's going to do to help me all the time. And you know, in the back of your mind, that's not true. He's got 60 billion other things he's got to do, but that's the comfort you get with the guy. Outside the fact that you know he's doing the research and you know he's the right guy for the job, you do feel like you're the only patient he has.
I've said this many times to many people that if I lived in Bellingham, I would drive 2 hours just to see him on a regular basis. He is that good of a doctor, that good of a person, and that important to me in my life.
Dr. Kaplan is as close to being a part of our family as there can be without really being part of our family.
I have breast cancer, and my breast cancer is hormone receptor negative, which is rarer than a lot of them. So it makes it even more challenging to find treatments that work for my cancer. But Dr. Kaplan is one of the only doctors I know who's doing research for people like me. And it's not because of me, it's because he sees that there's a need out there, and that's why it's good to have a Dr. Kaplan out there.
Swedish, it's kind of a unique situation. You know, we're not a big university. We don't have a big laboratory presence. We never will. But what we think, a program like ours can be more nimble. As new things come along, we can jump on them, we can develop protocols, we can get our patients into treatment quickly with new things. We feel like there are very few cutting-edge things out there that we can offer to our patients. And the goal is, with research like that, that you don't have to get on an airplane and go to Boston or Texas or wherever, that in the city of Seattle, you can get just about anything out there that looks like it may be hot, that may help your disease.
You walk in and he's got several things for you to do. In this case, we were able to take Tarceva right off the bat. Basically within a couple weeks, the tumor was shrinking, you know, everything was great. I felt better. The symptoms I had sort of started to go away. I started to feel great. At that point in time, Dr. Kaplan was next to my wife, was probably the, the best guy in the world. So at that point, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to, take the time off. And then all that changes. Oh, well, this is something I'm going to live with, not something I'm going to die of. So you try to get back to life. And that's where I am today, 2.5 years later.
When I tell people that I have cancer and I've had it for 5 years, they're like, oh, that's terrible. 5 years? And I'm like, no, that's amazing, 5 years, that I am still here. Because when you get a stage 4 diagnosis, everybody knows what that means. It's terrible. Without all the research that Dr. Kaplan and others do, there would not be other drugs for people like me to try, and there would be an end of the road. And I don't want there to be an end of the road.
You can't just have a doctor that you pay, to see you for an hour. That doctor has to have people that are behind him, that are researching things, looking at things, doing all that. That comes at a cost. And when you think about that cost, you think about not just you, but you think about all the people that have cancer and all the people that are going to have cancer. And there isn't any person that hasn't been touched by cancer. There's probably not a whole lot of people that aren't going to have a cancer scare. Cancer isn't shrinking, it's growing. So, that takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of research, it takes a lot of time. And you got to find the right guy to do that kind of stuff. And if you find the right guy, then you got to find a way to fund that guy. And Dr. Kaplan is that guy.
Hank, you've been unbelievable to myself, Michelle, the boys, and our family, and you're always a part of us.
My wife and I, for whatever reason, have grown up with the idea that you need to contribute to your community. And I can't think of a better way to do that than this.
There's more we can do than just feel bad for somebody. At the end of the day, you just feel like you're doing something than just sitting on the sidelines watching. I think if you're somebody that just doesn't get on the bus and go for the ride, and every once in a while you want to give directions to the bus driver or even take the wheel, you got to do more than just sit on the sidelines and watch.
I want them to be able to get the best possible treatment they could get for their disease with the best possible outcome. And to have been a participant in that treatment so that they're happy with their treatment. They know they got the best they could get.
What I want for them is to have a long and happy life with their families and their children. It's watching their children get married and have babies and celebrating.
How can you not try your best when you got people like these two? You don't want to let them down.